This page is entitled Three Measures of Center. And on the previous page, we learned that the two most important ideas for statistics and data analysis are center, write it down on your page, and spread. Where's the center and how is it spread out? These are the two most important ideas in data and statistics. And there are actually different ways that you can measure the center. And in this lesson, we're going to learn three ways that you can measure the center. So part one says, follow along with your instructor to complete this lesson. Three measures of center include the following. So the first way that you can measure the center is called the mean. Write it down. And another word for mean is the average. In blue, the second way that you can measure the center is called the median. And another word for median is middle. To remember this, just think of the Spanish word medianoche, which means midnight or middle of the night. That's why median means middle. And the third way that you can measure the center is called the mode. And that means the most frequent. So the mode means the most frequent or the most often value that shows up. And we're going to learn how to figure out each of these ways of measuring the center: median, the mean, median, and mode. So let's go house shopping. And in box A, it says, the homes below are listed for sale. Find three measures of center. So we're going to look at these homes here, and we have to find the center value of these four homes. And we're going to do it in three different ways. The first way is by using the mean. Write it down. And once again, mean just means average. Here's how you figure out the average. Just take all the values, so 200,000, 200,000, 250,000, and 350,000, add them all up, and then divide by 1, 2, 3, 4. So let's go ahead and add up all the values. Use the workspace. So first we have 200,000, write it down. Then another 200,000. Then we have 250,000. And finally, 350,000. So go ahead and do the work on your own and add up all four of these values. And if you added them all up correctly, you should have $1 million as a total value for all four houses. Now to find the mean, just go ahead and divide by 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'll do it as a fraction. So 1 million divided by 4. If you're not sure how to do this in your head, you can break it down. And instead of doing all 1 million divided by 4 all at once, try 100 divided by 4. Because I know 100 divided by 4 is 25. And then all you have to do is add 1, 2, 3, 4 zeros. So 100 divided by 4 is 25. And then add 1, 2, 3, 4 zeros. So the mean, or the average of all these four houses, is $250,000. So if you look at all the four values, the center value for these houses, if you use the mean, is $250,000. Now let's measure the center a different way. Instead of using the mean in red, let's go ahead and switch to blue, and let's find the median, or the middle. So it's really easy to do. And let me clean this up so that it's clear. So all you have to do is look for the house exactly in the middle. And since you need to also make sure that all the values are in order from smallest to biggest. So here, the values are in order from smallest to biggest. And there is no house exactly in the middle, so the middle will be right here. It's in between 200,000 and 250,000. So you can add up the two houses and divide by 2, and that'll give you the middle. Or if you're able to do this in your head, you'll see that the value halfway between 200,000 and 250,000 is 225,000. So you can write down middle equals $225,000 because 225,000 comes halfway in between 200,000 and 250,000. So if you're using the median, write it down. Median means middle. The median value for these homes is $225,000. Let's move on to the third way to measure the center, and that is by using the mode in green. So you can write down mode, and that just means the most frequent. So just look at all the prices. Look for the price that occurs most frequently. And you'll see that $200,000 appears twice. That's the price that appears most frequently. So the mode for these set of 4 houses is $200,000. So there are 3 ways that we learned to measure the center. The mean was $200,000. The median, the mean was $250,000. The median was $225,000, and the mode was $200,000. These are 3 different ways that we can measure the center. Let's take a look at box B. So it's the same 4 houses, except we're going to add one more house, this one right here. And you'll notice that this house does not have a price attached to it. So go ahead and write down the price of this house. And this house, since it's right by the beach, this house is worth $14 million. And you'll notice that it's much higher than the value of the other houses. So when you have a value that's much higher or much lower than the others in the set, then this is called an outlier because the value lies way outside of all the other values. So we're going to measure the center value of these 4 houses. And again, we're going to do it in 3 different ways. The first is by using the mean. The second is by using the median. And the third is by using the mode. So the first way that we'll do it is by using the mean. Go ahead and write it down. And mean just means average. So to find the average, you have to add up all the values of all 5 houses. So add up 200,000, 200,000, 250,000, 350,000, and 14 million. Add them all up, and then instead of dividing by 1, 2, 3, 4, we're going to be dividing by 5 because there's 5 houses. So let's go ahead and add them all up. And to save some time, we already know the value of these 4 houses here. These added up to $1 million. So 1 million plus 14 million gives you 15 million. Go ahead and write it down. And this time, instead of dividing by 4, we have 5 houses. So take the 15 million and divide them by 5. 15 million divided by 5. I can do this in my head. So 15 million divided by 5 million gives you 3 million. So the average, the mean, or the average of these houses is $3 million. And let's see if that makes sense. So the mean is $3 million. And when you look at 3 million compared to house one, 3 million seems really big. It doesn't feel right. And for house two, 3 million versus 200,000, that feels really a lot bigger. So it doesn't feel right, even though the math is correct. 3 million compared to 250,000, that feels too big. 3 million compared to 350,000, that feels too big. And then 3 million compared to 14 million, now the 3 million is way too small. So even though the math is correct, we did all the work correctly. The mean of these houses is $3 million. But because of the outlier, because of this house here, the mean doesn't feel correct. It feels wrong, even though all the math is correct. So when you have an outlier like this, the mean is not always the best way to measure the center. So let's see if we can find the center value of these houses a different way. So another way that we can measure the center in blue is by using the median. So let's go figure that out now. And median just means middle. So write down median. Median just means middle. And let me clean this up so it's easier to see. So remember that when you're looking for the median, the houses have to be in order from least expensive to most expensive. So here they're already in the correct order from least expensive to most expensive. And to find the median, all you have to do is look for the house in the middle. And the middle house is this one right here. So the median value is $250,000. Write that down. And let's see if this value makes sense. So 250,000 compared to 200,000, that seems to make sense. 250,000 compared to this house, that makes sense. 250,000 compared to this one, it actually matches perfectly because this is the middle house. 250,000 compared to 300,000, that still makes sense. And 250,000 compared to 14 million, it doesn't make sense for this house. And that's okay because this is the outlier. So if you're measuring the center using the median is $250,000. So whenever you have an outlier, instead of using the mean, oftentimes it's better to use a median. All right, the last way to measure the center is by using the mode. So write that down for line 3. And mode just means most frequent or most often. So just look at all the values and find out which value happens most frequently. And you'll notice that $200,000 appears twice. All the other values only appear once. So that's why $200,000 is the mode. So the 3 ways that we learned to measure the center today are the mean, the median, and the mode. And whenever you have an outlier, like this house here, oftentimes the median is a better measure instead of using the mean.